What's up, coders? Let's get it. Let's get this bread, people. Whew, I'm lowering my music volume a little bit, but how's it going? How's it going, people? It's been a minute. It's been over a week, and now we're finally back. We're back, regular rhythm, at least through the next couple weeks into the holiday season, and it's good to be back. It's good to frickin' be back. Pilcrow, as always, welcome in. Good to see you on the morning shift. Speaking of shift, I'm shifting back my stream a little bit. This isn't me being late. I actually want to move my stream back just a bit. Just a bit. And I'm lowering my music volume. I'm playing with levels. I always do this. I want to move my stream back just a little bit to leave room for breakfast in the mornings. Because I noticed whenever I did streams, I was on an intermittent fasting kind of thing. So I got on here, I was fresh out of a workout, fresh out of the shower, and towards the end of a stream, I was hangry, I was rushing, I had no energy, and it was just a problem. And it didn't get better. I thought it would get better when you get used to, like, the fasting thing. No, not at all. So I decided, all right, we're going to have breakfast beforehand. We're going to shift the stream back 30 minutes. Today was 45 minutes, but I got to get my routine together. Shift it back 30 minutes, 9:30 Eastern. Make room to have some food in you. Have the coffee ready to go. And then we can roll straight into my morning meetings, which I usually have about, what is it, an hour 40 from now? Normally it will be 2 hours. So yeah, there you go. New schedule. It was already a new schedule. It was an experiment. We did the experiment, and then we decided, you know what, we're going to land here. We're going to move it around just a little bit. But I hope y'all are doing well. How's your holiday been? How's your holiday been, people? It's been a while. Oh, I think I'm actually using the wrong camera. Because I was like, why do I look worse? I look worse. What's going on there? Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, boy. Okay, yeah, that's the angle that we want. Oh, we look so much better. I was like, how am I making eye contact with you people? This doesn't make any sense. But you can also see my beautiful whiteboard is now 100% in frame. I figured out how to get my setup. This whole time I was trying to shove the whiteboard to my right side, left side on the stream. And now I realized I could fit it over here a lot better. So there is a little bit of a background in there, I'm aware, but, you know, we got to get the whiteboard in frame, because who else are we? Astro 4.0, 4.0, 4.0. Thank you, Sean. Yes, that was this week. Announcing some dev tools. Announcing internationalization built into the framework. Announcing Vite 5, which I don't know what it does, but I'm sure it makes things faster. It always does. I mean, there's just so much there. And almost no breaking changes, all right? We deprecated some APIs, or we ripped out some APIs that were deprecated in V3. And we didn't really do much else. We just took the chance to bump the underlying build tool and add some cool features. That's all we did. So if you're worried about, oh, God, 4.0, I was just on 2.0. Like, don't worry about it, man. It's really easy to upgrade. It's real freaking easy. I just did it to a site, and nothing broke. Dev server got a little faster, I think. And I was kind of done. And I'll also highlight this this tool right here. If I go to my share, look at this. Ah, my screen share is too big. Hang on. let me change my my screen resolution 1 second. This is the one thing I forget to check, because I'm like, oh, when I turn on streaming, everything will be perfect. And then it isn't. What are you gonna do about it? All right, but you can see the preview there. We got a new CLI tool to make this easier. It's called AstroJS Upgrade, and you can run it anytime you want. It will bump any package versions that it needs to get them to the latest version. Here I had to upgrade Astro and a related Solid.js dependency, and it figures out all the versions that you're going to need. It's really nice, because before you had to manually upgrade each thing, and you might forget to upgrade an integration like Solid, and you get weird breaking changes. It's nice to just have it all managed for you. And now it is, with any major package manager. And Houston talks to you, which means it has to be good, right? It just has to be. Integration's up to date. Look at him. Look at him giving us updates. Awesome. Yeah. So 4.0, it's never been easier to just bump a major in Astro. So, you know, install the tool, try it out. There you go. I bought some programming books today. Pilcrow, what did you buy? What did you get? Oh, I'm not getting any likes on this tweet, so I'm going to have to share it with y'all, the real ones. Go ahead and share this around the internet, or at least drop a like on the Twitters. If you have a Twitter, drop a like so we can get some people in here to build a better form library. Yes, I know. Who said that before? Literally everyone. But I don't care. I think I've actually got something. So, get ready. Oh, I'm trying to... Now that I have the whiteboarding frame, I gotta mess with my my framing just a bit. I think this looks pretty good. I mean, you are gonna get a funny whiteboard in the shop, but what am I to do? Yeah, we'll keep it there for now. 100 Go mistakes in designing data-intensive applications. The latter one sounds really interesting to me. 100 Go mistakes. Dang. 100 Go mistakes. Number 1, using Go. I kind of like Go. I can't really make fun of it. But that's cool. Designing data-intensive applications. Can I just find that from a Google search? Designing data-intensive. Yes, I can. Applications. It's a PDF. Or at least some people are looking for a PDF. Let me actually try that. Oh, yeah, it's on GitHub. Look at that. It's probably a big old PDF, so it'll take a second. Ah, cool. Yeah, more pages. Wow, interesting. Never looked at a PDF on GitHub, but it's got that classic, hand-sketched drawing of nature or something else. So it's real. It's really a good read. But yeah, big ideas beyond reliable, scalable, and maintainable systems. This is something I probably need to read at some point because we're talking about Astro for apps. That's what we're talking about today and for the next year. I'm on a crusade to make Astro the next place to build full-stack applications. I've been looking, actually, at Laravel and Ruby on Rails really intensively because they were blind spots for me, and I felt like JavaScript has a lot of groupthink right now where everyone's just catching up to Next.js. Can we please look at some other perspectives to see what's going on out there? I did that. I looked at, Livewire in the Laravel community, and the maintainer Caleb, he's awesome. And Ruby on Rails and whatever they're doing with Turbo Frames and some of their new features that they announced. There's a lot of good content out there. Both the Ruby on Rails conf and Laravel conf are really well produced and have some awesome videos online. I'm going to suggest a couple of them to the people in the audience. Laravel conf, well, there is one talk that was, where can I find it? Yeah, just a general summary of everything was good from Taylor Otwell. But also, where was it? There's 2 talks that I'll probably point out here. And I was also looking at this random video on RailsConf. I don't think I need to watch all of them. But Livewire 3, some of the features announced in this library are really big echoes of what Astro's doing with Vue transitions. Big echoes. They have transition persist, just like Astro. They have navigating with hot DOM diffing and all of that, like Astro. Really, the only difference is there's definitely core differences in how they do updates and all of that. But it's really validating to see Livewire's doing kind of some of the same stuff as what Astro's doing. And it makes me think we also have the groundwork to build some full stack stuff. If Livewire can do it and Laravel's happy with it, surely Astro can kind of do the same rallying cry. So this is a good talk. It's a good demo. It runs through everything super quickly, and you don't really need to know PHP to understand what the heck he's doing. So it's good. Also, Jess Archer, just because this is so well done, it has nothing to do with full stack frameworks. It's building a CLI tool, building better prompts, literally, prompts in a CLI. And it's just so, there's so much attention to detail in how she designed this library. And the presentation style is so refreshing because all she did is say, you know what? Before we had this CLI tool, now we have this one. I'm going to do a before and after for every prompt you might use in your application. And I'm going to show you the changes we made and just let the work speak for itself. It was super succinct. She didn't say at all. She's a great presenter. And the library does speak for itself. There was a ton of applause throughout the whole thing. I was applauding, even though I'm not in PHP. And I have no idea where they're coming from. It's just a great talk. It's a really great talk. So these 2 are definitely good reads for anyone who does web development. Literally anyone. As for Ruby on Rails, I don't know, man. I mean, there were some interesting ideas over there, but I feel like Laravel nails building websites that really feel snappy, that actually feel like they're, modern. They have both a version using React and Vue and a version like Livewire, which uses server stuff. And they're both really focused on shipping a lot of JavaScript, but making the website look really snappy. Ruby on Rails is about being very Spartan and using just the bare minimum of tools and being antagonistic to anything else. That is not something I vibe with, and it never was. But they did pioneer some of the stuff that Livewire kind of ran with. So I feel like Ruby on Rails is like an origin story for this way of thinking, and we'll get into it. But yeah, these two are really good talks. We need Astro with Laravel. I don't know what that would look like. So you mean using Astro as a front end to a Laravel backend? Because maybe. I like to think Astro could own the stack. I think we have some interesting stuff coming for database management and authentication where we could do the rallying cry there. But there is a lot to build. It would take at least probably like 3 years to get remotely close to Laravel's feature set. And I don't think Astro, the core library, is really meant to do that. I'm sharing the talks, by the way, if anyone's interested. But I don't think Astro Core is going to be as just, it's not going to have that sense of oneness that Laravel does, because it's just not how we operate. I learned Taylor, the overlord of Laravel, basically, he still reviews every PR that goes into the project. Every single one. Comments are beautifully grouped and put on new lines to make sure that they're like this 3-line, 120-character explainer for every feature. It's a legend, and it's actually true. And there's just so much work and oneness that goes into it. There is a beauty in that because it's one opinion that makes everything feel seamless. But it's not how Astro operates. We have a full team. We have a lot of community RFCs that come in. We have people that are working on distinct parts of Astro, but no one owns the whole thing, not even close. Matthew, I guess, might be kind of the closest, but, I mean, he's just kind of owning the bug triaging and just orchestration of getting stuff done. Matthew's great at getting stuff done. But, you know, we have Blue that's working on a lot of internals, and he brings the Vite understanding. I have worked on content-focused APIs, so anything with Markdown, I put my finger on. Nate is working on caching and caching your builds in order to make them more efficient. He also worked on client-side routing for a bit. Like, we've just got a lot of people, and they're doing a lot of stuff. So I don't think we would ever end up with Astro having an opinion for every little thing the same way that Laravel does. But I think that there's a space to build a library alongside Astro that does have a few more opinions. So that's where my head is at right now. Up until now, I've worked on Astro, and I've tried to like push stuff in core that I think is good. And I've also been working on Astro Studio, which is a really cool database platform. Get ready, people. But up until now, I haven't really... Astro has stayed a relatively unopinionated, bring what you like to use sort of framework. And I think there's a couple areas that, you know, Astro Core couldn't adopt, but maybe we could build. And thus ushered in this little thing I'm working on called the Simple Stack. I think the vibe that I've heard from people using Astro and enjoying it is not the bundle size is super small and it made my website faster. I think people are okay with good enough bundle size. That's why Next.js works for a lot of people. I don't think Astro winning on counting kilobytes is ever going to work. It's only the diehards that care about that sort of thing. It doesn't scale. But there are a lot of people who say Astro was really easy for me to pick up. We migrated to Astro and we just had less code and it was easier to contribute to. And that's awesome. So it's like, oh, Astro, just by ripping out some of the like super strict opinions of use React here and use server components there, we made something that's just a simpler way to build a website. And that resonates with people. We're getting a lot of fatigue from all these JavaScript tools on top of JavaScript tools. We want something that's simpler, that still does the thing effectively. So I'm like, all right, maybe simple is the mantra. So let's build something called the Simple Stack. And it doesn't have much to it because Astro does a lot of beautiful things. But I want it to be a collection of packages that you can pull from or install all at once, and they help you build apps with Astro. I'm starting with Simple Form, which is a server-side validator for all your form inputs, and some helpers to make client-side validation nice. It won't have a ton of opinions. You might use like a advanced form management library that we, can't fully address, but it'll give you some nice starting points, some building blocks to build forms, end-to-end validation, feels snappy, feels easy to use. Partial is a way to do partial rendering in Astro because I've seen that need when you start building apps. Sometimes you need to re-render just part of the page and not the whole thing. So this is kind of like turbo frames, if you've ever seen those. Re-rendering part of the page's HTML instead of the whole thing. And that's a library that, I want to build as a separate experiment to see if people like it. Also, Simple Scope is one that I built. This just makes scoped IDs easier. So if I go to this guy, this has been around for a little bit, but it makes it easy to make IDs that don't leak outside the file. So here we might have a form and we want to tie together the form label, but we don't want to use an ID that could be duplicated somewhere on the page. We don't want to think about it. So using Scope, it just takes whatever file you're in, hashes the file name into just some gibberish, and appends it to whatever ID you have. So that way you don't have to worry about scope leaking out of your application. Simple scope, simple form, simple partial. I also want to do simple route to have a code generation tool to have autocomplete for all the routes in your Astro app. This is something Laravel has, and it would be super easy to just have a code gen tool that takes all of the files in your project and turns them into a type-safe helper to say route, name of the route, and you get autocomplete for all the routes that you have. So those are the 4 packages rolling around in my brain: partial, form, route, and scope. Some of them are done, some of them are in progress, some of them aren't really ready. But all of that kind of culminates into building a full stack app with Astro. And I'm trying to, make it a collection of tools separate from Astro that is a very distinct brand, Because up until now, Astro is like the way to build content-driven sites. And in one breath, we could say, now it's for full stack apps and here's why. But I also kind of want to prove out that idea a little bit. So I'm like, let's instead build a collection of tools separate from Astro with separate branding and a separate focus to see, does this click with people? Does the message simpler web development work? And do people actually build full stack apps with Astro? If both of those things happen, maybe Astro Core starts focusing on that market. But until then, let's kind of establish a separate little brand on the side that helps people do this. And I'm going to try to connect with people building apps with Astro, see if we can build more packages or refine them to meet their needs, and then we can see what that means for Astro Core in the years ahead. That's my thinking. It is a maniacal plan to see if this kind of pitch lands with people. That's where I'm at. And today I'm going to start rolling on simple form and making it a little bit more feature-rich, see where we land on that. Hope that sounds good. I'm curious if people also want to build full-stack apps with Astro. Is that even on your mind as something that you want to do? Or are you like, no, I want to use Astro for this specific purpose, and I want to build my backend some other way? I've heard a couple things like, you said Laravel and Astro. Ed, you're saying Astro plus Go. Is it possible to use Astro only as a front end? I mean, you can use it however you'd like. I think Astro shines with server rendering, so I feel like it would be a backend talking to another backend. That's probably where you'd end up. If you want to use it to mount a purely client-side app, I've been working on a client-rendered app with React Router and just mounting it into Astro, and that works really well too. It's not my preferred flavor. I do prefer server rendering stuff, just because it's an easier mental model than using React. But it is very possible, and you could totally use it to call out to whatever backend you want. Does that use import.meta? Pilcrow, it does not. We're actually, I can show you the source code for Vite Simple Scope, because it fits on a postage stamp. Like, it is really simple. There's not much to it. You can see I don't even have any directories. I don't even have any folders in this repo. It's just an index file. But this is what we're doing. So it's a plugin we call Resolve ID, and then we get whatever file imported Simple Scope. You'll notice Simple Scope, if I go back here, Simple Scope is a virtual module, which means it doesn't really exist. We can define as a plugin what Simple Scope returns. And it can return a different thing for whatever file you're in. We can be clever about it. So going back here, every time you try to import Simple Scope, we pick up the file that you're importing from, we kick it to a nano ID, we just stringify it, and we could probably, use the importer as a hash to make it deterministic. We don't do that right now, but we probably should. And then we return virtualmod / the person that imported the file. And then down here is where we resolve that to some module contents. So basically, for every file that imports SimpleScope, it's going to get a different version of this function right here. And this function is going to use the hashed file name and return it back to you. That's it. That's all it's doing. So for every file you import, we generate a new scope ID and export it out. And then when you bundle it, you're getting a bunch of these scope functions for every file in your project. And it's really lightweight. I mean, it's just a one-liner function. There's not much to it. We could even remove some white space if you care, but I think we bundle it anyways. So we just make it readable. I'd use MD5. Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. Because I just, naively use what I know. And NanoID is like, fine. Astro Full Stack has been in my mind since 2022. Same here, man. Same here. This quote exists. This quote has a lot of mind share for me. I'm going to bookmark it so I can come back to it. This has been in my mind forever, man. I can still go back to this and say, you know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. The question is, who will go the other way? Will Remix get more like Astro, or will Astro get more like Remix? I think it's the latter. I think Astro is just going to go up the rungs, and Remix is going to be in rewrite phase for the next year because they're adopting server components and they're casually changing everything. Yeesh. Please don't remixify Astro. I don't think we really will. Oh, sorry about that. Yeesh. Did I show anything there? 1 second. Do I have to delete this VOD? Did I show anything sensitive? No. We're good. We're good. Just making sure. It's just a preview of my messages, so I think we're fine. Yeah, we're good. You know all those people. They're all in the open source community. Just making sure I didn't leak any proprietary plans. I'm not really scheming with anyone, though, so whatever. You might notice there I messaged Flavio, though. Apparently he's building a full stack tutorial platform with Astro. He shared it on Twitter, so I assume it's public knowledge. So I messaged him like, you're building a course platform with Astro. Let me help you. Let me invite you to the Discord. Let's talk about this. I want to build it. Yeah, Lucia, yeah. I want to build it with you, if I can. Because that seems like the perfect case study to try out some of these ideas and see if it actually clicks or if it's just a bad idea. Who knows? Yeah. But I do think there's also a place for Astro as a full stack idea, while all the competitors are kind of just chasing Next. We're in a funny place right now. Redwood is experimenting with React Server Components. Remix is experimenting with React Server Components. So if everyone ends up using React Server Components, we'll all be the same framework. Next is a pretty thin wrapper on top of what Server Components do. Like they feel like a really thick wrapper, but to be honest, they're not. They just added some file-based conventions and a lot of opinions about how you cache your app. But other than that, they just take Server Components and let you use them. So like, if Remix uses Server Components and so does Redwood, are they really that different? Like, why would I even use them at that point? I don't know. They would be like subtle flavor differences from Next. And you might as well use the one that has the most adoption and the most integrations. That would be Next. So it's like, yeah, if they all converge, then Next.js wins because they're the biggest one with the biggest ecosystem. Like, I don't get the path for all these other React frameworks. I don't see the path to be different. I don't see it. I don't know. So I feel like the only way for Astro to be different is to just not do server components. Just do HTML, man, and let you use whatever framework you want if you need client stuff. Astro's just going to go a completely different route if we're going to do full stack at all. And I think that is the healthy way to do this. It is not to chase server components and bring server components to Astro, because I just don't get it. I don't get how that would help us. So I just don't think that's the future for Astro at all. Even though I gave talks about server components and I seemed excited about React Server Components, I'm not going to be doing anything in the React Server Component space. I'm going to be going full in on Astro. That's my plan. I don't really want to revisit that. So, yeah. I'm not sure how Remix would differentiate. Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe they'll help you with forms better. I don't know. I'm sure they have thoughts. I'm sure they can make real improvements over what Next.js does, because Next doesn't have a lot of opinions. They're waiting on the community to make Next better. So Remix could just do that and have more opinions and do it better. They could. But in order to make people switch, you have to be meaningfully different or 5 times better than what you're using. You can't just be, 2 times better than Next.js, because the cost of migration isn't worth a 2 times improvement in, developer experience. Maybe it's worth it if you really care about bundle size and it's half the size. Maybe that matters. But if it's not meaningfully different, no one's going to switch. You have to be super different to get people off of Next to use something else. Ideas simple C. Yeah. Client side, I feel like, I have thought about how many of these simple packages are going to be experiments that get gobbled up by Astro Core, and how many will just exist as their own thing. Something like Simple Scope, there's actually a chance this just becomes part of Astro Core and you can import scope from anywhere. So this would just disappear and Astro does it. There's also a chance that Simple Partial, that partial rendering idea that we're not going to talk about today, but it's very cool. There's a chance that that could become part of Astro. I'm not going to push for it. I'd like to release it as a package, prove community interest, and then get adoption. But there will probably be that kind of thing. And CSRF, those kinds of concerns, I feel like that could, again, be a simple package, plugs into Astro, we prove the community wants it, and then it becomes part of Astro Core. I feel like that could totally happen. Yeah, it's a basic middleware and 5 lines of code. If it's that basic, it feels like this should just be in Astro. Because I got a question on Twitter the other day, does Astro handle this for form submissions? And I was like, I don't think so. How do other frameworks do it? And they're like, well, .NET Core did it for 20 years. It's just adding a simple header and making sure that the tokens line up, I think. I'm probably butchering that. But, yeah. Pokro, if it's that simple, you want to just contribute that to this repo? Do you want to just contribute that to this? Or just make your own library? I don't care. It sounds like you might be the better person to write those 5 lines than me, because I got to do some research. But, dude, if you want to just make a package inside of this right here called CSRF, go right ahead. Just push it. Or push it under your own name if you want all the glory. I mean, that is fine, too. It's all open source. As long as I can link it to people and tell them, hey, this is how you do CSRF with your form submissions. I don't know. Maybe it is that simple. Spoke just compares the origin header and the host. If it's that easy, Jesus. Maybe that should be part of form, or maybe it should just be a general thing. I don't even know. I don't know. But I'm not going to let that change our focus for the stream, because I want to work on simple form. I had an epiphany the other day. I had a moment where I realized how we could do this in a way that is meaningfully different from what is out there. Because if there's one thing that has been over-engineered to death, it's forms. So I want to do it in a different way that doesn't over-engineer completely. There will probably be a little bit of over-engineering. There always is. But, simple stack. There probably will be. Oh, yeah. It's on the roadmap discussion. Fantastic. Okay, sick. I mean, we can still make a library for it. Oh, Fred put it out in February, though. Okay. And also, we just put out 4.0, which means we're at the next phase of our roadmap. So next week or so is going to be the time that we look at community proposals and decide, here's what we want to do. If it's this simple, which just, would be a good default. Save parse URL is just new URL, but returns null for invalid URLs. Okay. Save parse URL. Host. Yep. Return new response. Okay. And then you're get a bad gateway if you got a problem. So this is, I assume, a middleware that you could plug into your app. And it's just going to compare the two. Okay, yeah. This is something that I've wanted, honestly. I've wanted a utility like that for a while, because the fact that it throws for very random URL issues is just annoying. I do want something that's safe parse. So I would use this internally for a couple things that I already wrote. If we could just make this a utility. Simple utils. I don't know, something like that. Utilities are a weird one. It's like, do utilities belong in a shared package, or should utilities be in the package that cares about them? I never know where to put my utils. I never know where to put shared code. It would probably end up as a shared package or something, but for our purposes. But yeah, this is sick. This is sick. I'm going to upvote this, and this coming week, I will champion this, because we're going to have a little meeting in the coming weeks about roadmap stuff. This has a decent amount of upvotes, and it feels very low effort. So it should be easy to pull it in. Even if it doesn't get adopted as like something the core team works on, if you just want to, you know, show what it looks like in core and make a PR, like, go right ahead. Like, make a middleware, plug it into Astro servers by default, add an experimental flag, I don't know. And that's the proof. The proof's in the pudding, I don't know. It's not quite the RFC process, but for something this simple, it's almost like I want to ditch some paperwork and just get the thing in. Because, yeah, it really is just like that. And this is table stakes for anything we're doing. So, yeah, cool stuff. I'll add the tab. I'll bookmark it up here so I don't lose it. Okay. So, anyway, Simple Stack. I'm going to go over here. This is Simple Stack, baby. And I'm going to make just a test project, probably. Let me actually open up packages/form on its own. Let me go ahead and do that. Oh, I forgot the recursive. Eck. Okay, that'll do. And we're going to add a test directory. Would you like to open the repository? Is that just going to take me back where I was? Let me see. Oh, it opens the repository but keeps you in your current directory. Fantastic. I love that. Okay, so yeah, we're here. And I'm going to use Astro Create to spin up an example project. What's up, Mr. Form? What's up, Mr. Elian? How's it going? Mr. Codes? Mr. Codes. Let me go ahead and do an Astro latest on here. Eventbrite from scratch. That was a good talk. It made me more confident in using forms in Astro. It was very nice. Also, look at this Oslo link, just to distract us a little bit more. Verify request origin. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay, so this is like a to and from sort of thing. Allow domains. Okay. Okay, so if you only allow the base, a subdomain would fail. But the root domain would, of course, succeed. If you only allow the subdomain, the root would fail as well. Okay, that's kind of cool. So this, I could install Oslo/request and use that in my apps to just have like this granular utility. Pretty cool. Going good. Preparing for React Day Berlin. Yeah, man, you're all over the place. But yeah, React Day Berlin. Very nice. What are you talking about with React? I'm sure nothing Astro related. You're going to talk about Next.js, right? Building a Next.js app? Is that what we're doing? Next.js? I've been using Astro to build my company's new website. Ooh, everything is just so polished. Thank you. It's been very smooth experience so far. Astro team is killing it. Yes, well, don't thank me. Definitely thank the maintainers. Matthew, Nate, Erica, Blue, and Tony. All the cool people. I've been pulled aside to work on Astro Studio, so I haven't worked on Astro Core in months, except for one MDX PR. So they're crushing it. They continue to crush it. The fact that we're still only at 110 issues on the Astro repo is nuts. Like, usually, years down the line, your issues scale up with your user base. Like, if you started with 2 users, you have 2 issues. You ramp up to 1,000 users, suddenly you have 100 issues. You have 10,000 users, now you have 500 issues. Like, usually it scales. But Astro has hovered above and below 100 issues since I joined the company. It's insane. Yeah, Next.js 2.5K. And it's like inbox 0. You either have almost no emails in your inbox or 2,000. It hits a tipping point where you just can't look at it anymore. And Astro has been really vigilant to never hit that tipping point, to always be on top of it. So, really proud of that. Really proud of that. Lucia only has like 1 bug issue. No way. That's amazing. Yeah, I know. It's crazy that we sustain that. We're easily the lowest issue count of any of the JavaScript meta frameworks. Easily. Okay, and don't quote me on that. I haven't actually checked. Maybe Solid Start has fewer issues, but I don't know. It's the only one I can think of that might be on top of it. Okay, we're creating an Astro app. I'm just going to put it in the test folder. Or actually, I like to call these Playground, because it's not really a unit test yet, but we could add end-to-end test on top of it. That's another thing. We don't really have a way to test. I never test my Astro apps because up until now I've built very content-focused sites. And if you're spitting out static files, there's just not a lot to test. There's really not. Does the HTML show or not? Like, that's all you're checking. But as soon as you have mutations and there's a back and forth, then you start needing test. Remix only has 150. That's really impressive. Good on the Remix team. Okay. Applause to the Remix team. That's freaking awesome. SolidStar is 250. Woo, no. Oh, no. That's not good. But yeah, Remix team, that's impressive. That is a rare breed right there. SolidStar has a lot of bugs. I believe it. I do. And as far as I understand, I don't know what Ryan's situation is right now, because I don't think he's working on Netlify anymore. Are they independently funded, or is there a separate gig? I actually don't know. But for a bit, Netlify was funding SolidStart, and I don't think it is anymore. I know Netlify stopped funding Eleventy, because I chat with Zach on the Eleventy guy, and he's over doing Cloud Canon CMS, and they are freaking awesome. So it was a great match. But yeah, I don't know where Ryan landed. Okay, we'll just do empty for this. We'll copy the template, install some dependencies. Actually, don't install dependencies. We'll just stick with the playground that we have. Cool. We don't need... I mean, we could move these up. I mean, these are fine. And we have launch. Oh, wow. Look at this. I didn't know we had this. So you can say bin Astro Dev development server. So this is for debugging. Fantastic. I didn't know we had that. But I should really try debug mode with Astro. How does it feel? Is it good? Not sure. Okay, so that's our VS Code. We'll plop it on the top. We have our public. We have our source with an Astro file. We have a package JSON, and we should probably install our dependencies from the base. So let me go ahead and do that. Yeah, cool. We don't really have anything to install. Oh, but this is probably a nested workspace. So I don't know. I don't really know how to do the monorepo thing if you have a doubly nested workspace. Should we have a workspaces file inside of the nested, or should we treat it as its own package? I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, how do people normally do this? If you have a monorepo of packages, do you create an apps folder with all your examples, or do you nest your examples inside of the package? When I say it out loud, I know what I should do, and it's not what I just did. So 1 second. I'm going to change this. 1 second. So that is not what I wanted. Okay, so we're going to close this workspace. Yeah, because we accidentally workspaced ourselves. So I think what I'm going to do is add examples right here, and we're going to move this guy into there. All right, so now we'll do this, and we'll rename that. So that way we can test multiple packages at once, do whatever we need to do. Example, and I should probably call it form just to keep things aligned. So there we go. Now we have examples for form. That's better. And I'll go ahead and move this to the base of form, because that's fine to do. And then in our workspace, we'll say that example / that. Perfect. Okay, there we go. I know how to do monorepos. I know how to do a monorepo. But for simple products, I have source docs example. Yeah, I feel you. I had to move examples to its own repo. That's also an option. I'm okay with doing the monorepo approach for now, but we might end up doing that. I'm also thinking about moving our docs off of DocuSource to Starlight. That would be a great choice. It's just too slow and hard to customize. Oh, no. Oh, okay, DocuSource, I'm assuming, is the slow and hard to customize. I hope Starlight isn't in that group, because, hey, that's not good. But yeah, Starlight's getting good, man. We just added support for pluggable, or just plugins. So now you can have Starlight plugins. You can change the search engine if you want to use Algolia or something else. You can override any component. So if you want to just make it look completely different, you can do that now. There's helpers to use Tailwind and customize your Tailwind theme. That's there too. So I think the one blocker for Starlight for a decent amount of people was just making it look custom. And now that that's there, I feel like Starlight is in that position to be just a general doc solution. Heck yeah. Ryan might be back at eBay. Good match, if he is. Good match if he is. Okay, so we have form here. Package is there. That's fine. And now we want to install some packages. So we'll say simple stack form. Also, I was hoping to get the simple stack namespace on NPM, but someone's squatting on it. There's a simple stack organization with 0 packages. I'm just going to tangent here because this matters to me. But if you go to simple stack, you can see it's a registered package. Default stack for a simple API. Okay, so there's also this. There's also this, but I think that there's an organization as well. There's an organization somewhere. But I wasn't allowed to get at simple stack. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was somewhere. Yeah, how do you find organizations on, is it orgs? NPM lookup organization. Yeah, how do you find those again? NPM website sucks. I know. I can't find anything. But yeah. This dude's just squatting on something. The repo doesn't exist anymore. Okay, we could totally reach out to this guy. He looks like a Chad, though. So I'm a little bit, oh, man, he's got a... How many packages does he have? How much has he squatted on for 11 years? It's a lot of things. Yeah, is there any... We should probably... I'm not going to go fully down the rabbit hole, but... Yeah, I think the goal is to poach this. Can't do, I cannot. I got a 404, which is really confusing. It was like, organization not found. And I had to go Google, what does this error mean? And I realized, oh, it's because the simple stack organization already exists, but their error message doesn't tell you that. So I found it somehow. I ended up on the simple stack organization page, and it was empty. Go try and make the org. I did. I did do that, and it failed. All right, so let me actually hide my screen share as I go in my profile, just to make sure I'm not going to do anything I regret. But yeah, if I go to organizations, add new organization. Yeah, this is actually really easy to do. Okay. Let's see. Yep, the organization name SimpleStack is not available. So if we go to npm.js. It was slash... Oh, it's org singular. We did orgs plural. That's why. Okay. So if we go to org SimpleStack, you can see right here, it's just this organization with no packages and no information about who owns it. So I'm like, who do I even contact? Someone's squatting on SimpleStack, and I don't know who it is. Is there any way to figure out the owner of an organization? Yeah, I know. There's just no information here. There's just a squatter. How to find who owns an organization. Simple underscore stack? Never. Never. I would probably do like simple Astro or something like that. I don't know. Is there any way to get who owns it? Is it a private organization so we can't see any information? Is that the issue? Yeah, this helps me manage organizations, but it doesn't help me find them. I'm going to have to ask my... Because I know some people in open source. They could probably help me track this down. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. Because someone has it, and they're obviously not using it. So I'd like it back, please. Please? Let me see if just... I know simple is not going to be here. Yes, simple is not available. Simple Astro is probably there, but that's not how I want to brand this. I don't know. SS? Simple stack? Okay, well, we had to try. I don't know. I don't know what I would want. I could figure out who owns the simple org and see if that's used. That would be an expensive org to get. Someone's also squatting on simple! Boo. Okay, it might be private packages, though. We don't know. It could be a private org. Okay, I don't... Well, I don't know what it stands for, but clearly I said something suggestive or wrong by going for that. Sorry about that. I don't know what I did, but I did the wrong thing. Oh, had the same issue? Yeah. I don't know what to do. Oh, yeah, I started Astro Tabs. Oh, it is? Oh, my God. I did not know that. Good to know. I did not know that. Sometimes you have to learn. I'm glad I said something. But yeah, I don't know. It was a branch. I did not know that. That's really good to know. I mean, sometimes you gotta check yourself. Oh, I'm sorry that the chat is overlaying on my browser tabs in a really ugly way. Ugh, that's not looking good. I probably need a shadow effect or something so that I can overlay the chat where I want to overlay it. Because, yeah, it's a bit of a mess right now, how I have my Twitch looking, but oh well. Yeah, thanks for keeping me in check, man. Definitely wasn't intentional. So, yeah. You're using which tech stack? Okay, you asked that twice. I'm sorry, I didn't answer it. But I'm kind of inventing one. So I'm using Astro. I'm using Astro, astro.build. It's a website framework. It lets you use whatever you want to build mostly content-focused websites. So if you're into building blogs, documentation, marketing, splash pages, we help you work with Markdown. We help you just work with JavaScript to fetch things on the server in a way that's easier than any other framework. And we help you ship to any deployment platform. We got adapters for all of them. You can also see, performance comparison. We do well on Lighthouse scores, and we support all the major frameworks. So if you use any of these, they'll work. Pretty cool. But yeah, I'm trying to make it easier to use it to build APIs and, forms and dynamic web apps. And I'm building something called the Simple Stack to give you some libraries for that. And if at the end of it, Simple Stack just becomes like Jamstack, that's kind of the best way to go out. Simple Stack starts as a movement and then ends as this confusing ball of nothing. That might happen. But yeah, I don't know what else to call this other than Simple Stack. I just need to figure out how to find the owner of the organization and contact them. That's all I want to do. It's very innocent, okay? I just want to figure out how I can get this org. That's all I want. Because no one's using it for public-facing packages. Who's to say? And if you're only using Simple Stack for private packages, why you gotta have a catchy name? Why do you need a catchy name? You don't need it. You're just using it for internal tools. It's no value to you. But I am worried if I am too public about we need to get this package, they will charge me a lot of money to get it because they know how much I want it. That's not good. So I gotta be careful. Up until now, though, I've had good luck just getting the dashes. So instead of having an organization, I'm just publishing all the packages as Simple Stack dash whatever. And it's fine. It feels less cohesive to do it like this. But simple dash stack dash form, simple dash stack dash partial. You don't have a guarantee that every package will be available on NPM and someone could start squatting names. And, like if people see, oh, he's building the Simple Stack, I'm going to go buy a bunch of other NPM names before he builds it. Like, that is definitely going to be an issue. Yeah, I'm surprised you got Oslo and Arctic. Were those just available? Is this a monorepo? At the moment. Is partial for partial pre-rendering? Yes, it is. Not pre-rendering. Re-rendering is how I look at it. So you have like a subset of the page that cares about a form when you're submitting it. It shouldn't re-render the whole page when you send that form submission. It should just re-render the form and related elements to show error states. So it's a way to reduce the blast radius whenever you need to re-render part of the page, so that it only re-renders the bits of HTML that you care about. That's the thing. Yeah, Turbo or Learner or something else. Monorepo tools, yeah. But also Turbo Frames, which is a different library, that's similar to partials. I asked the owner. One was a creator of Next. You asked the owner. Oh, okay. Dang, that's really cool. You see, it's cool if you can actually find the owner. I'd love to find the owner. Yeah. For my monorepo right now, I'm just using PNPM. And I'm wiring up each package. I might need Turbo Repo at some point, but right now I don't need it. Yeah. I'm happy just using this. But Turbo Repo's good, and I'll probably end up using that if I need to orchestrate, build tools, test suites. We'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to open this app. We've been talking for an hour, man. Also, has anyone working on Astro and a monorepo hit this issue? Because, it's really annoying. I run into this all the time with the language tools, and it just kills itself because Astro isn't in the root. And I'm like, why are you just dying right now? I don't know how to fix it. I still don't know how to fix it. I'll do an install and see if it's just, Astro needs to be installed within that package, but even when I install it, I still get this pop-up. So I don't know if that's it. We'll find out. I'm hoping it is. Restart the language host. Let's see what we get. We restarted the language host, and I'm hoping we don't get errors. They're both active on GitHub. Yeah, I mean, if they're working on Nex, they're definitely active. Okay, maybe that worked. I'm hoping we don't get more pop-ups like that. So we'll go back to example/form, yeah, and we'll run the dev server. I'll check that out right here. We are on localhost. It says the word Astro. That's all we need. Hello, Zero Cosmos. How you doing? So I think there's one other thing you have to add to your env. I could automate this, but for now you just add it manually. Say simple stack form/types. And that will wire up the appropriate types if it can find them. So we installed it from the workspace. And I'm hoping that just works. I don't know if it will. But yeah, if I go to my index page, I can do an example of this. I've written it a couple times before. And I'm going to do that. That's fine, I guess. And up top, we're going to make sure our middleware actually works. Oh, and I also want to change the API a bit in order to support what we're doing here. So let me start by just making sure the existing library works. Astro.locals. Please have form. You don't have form. Why don't you have form? My types ain't working, man. They ain't working. It can't find it. Why is monorepo breaking my types? No. Oh yeah, it didn't install it correctly. Huh. This is how you do workspace installs, right? This is how you do it. I made it part of the repo. Let me see. Yeah, it installed Simple Stack Form, we think. But it's not in the node modules anywhere. I don't know if it's supposed to be. Oh, I put it in scripts. Whoops. Yeesh. Okay, that would explain it. Okay, there we go. And now, okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. And does this work? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, perfect. Yikes. That was a big yikes. And you might have to restart your tools when you do this, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sorry if it's too off top. I've already usually host Astro sites. I host in a bunch of places right now. I used to host on Vercel a lot when I did content stuff. Now that I'm building apps, or I'm at least trying to focus on that, I'm looking into fly.io, which lets you host a node server and distribute it, because just working with a node server is easier than dealing with serverless environments, and I like that. So I'm going to try just deploying Astro as a node server and putting it on a host, and Fly.io is a good option for that. So I'm going to try that. But up until now, I've used Vercel. I've used it for static Astro sites and also for serverless stuff, and both work without a hitch. I haven't had any problems. So, Vercel gets a good review from me. I like it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and do this. And we'll say name is the string, like so. Dot optionale. And we'll install this from, it should auto import, but it doesn't. So this is something that I don't know if we should keep doing, but it's a trick that I've learned a long time ago. Astro exposes Zod from this internal right here, so you never have to install Zod if you're building with Astro. We should probably have an opinion there, but we don't right now. Okay, and I also need to wire up my config. This is if you just run astroadd, this works, which is really cool. But for now, I'm going to manually do it because I'm in a mono repo and I'm doing it a bit custom. Yeah. There we go. Now we should have it. Configuration file updated. Head over here. Very cool. We type in a name. We hit submit. And ideally, well, okay, we didn't even log it. We'll just log form. See that? Promise undefined. We'll do an await. We'll send a name. Okay, we're still getting undefined because we don't have post on the form. This is something I forget all the time. I almost want a tool that just turns every form to be post by default, so I don't need a component or anything. Oh, I'm in a static app. So that's cool that Astro tells you it's not available for static outputs. To enable header access, go here. Because, you know, before we would handle the server request and not tell you that you're not deploying as a server. We used to not tell you that. Now we do. Okay, so cool. You can see we got a form request and it comes in data parsed. So this is a nice library. It was a very lean starting point, but there are some things I want to improve from here. First off, errors are really annoying to render. So if I said that this is a number, right, we can see false error is a getter. But if you say if you say not form success, we can say form dot, oh, what? If. I just want to show you the type completions. I'm not actually doing anything useful yet. But, oh, what? What's going on here? Why are we not getting... This is weird. This doesn't happen in my other test projects. Maybe I need a question mark? I doubt it. Huh. It's a safe parse return type. Yeah, we get data. But if not form success, that should give you the form errors, right? Am I being stupid? Can someone tell me what I'm doing wrong? Because... What? This doesn't make any sense. I'll just say else. What? Where's the errors? I'm confused. I'm really confused. Did I break something or what? Because normally you would do this. Form errors, dot field errors, dot map, which is really obnoxious to type. I don't know why type completion doesn't work for that, but that's what you would normally type, and it's really just not fun. So I want to change this up a little bit to make those available at the top level. Another thing, I want this to be portable to other forms or portable to the client, and I want it to help you with inputs. Because you'll notice here, I had to type out what the type of my inputs are and make sure that always matches up with my schema. Sometimes that's fine and it works, but other times it gets a little funny. Like, what if I change this from optional to required? It's required on the server, but I forgot to say required over here. It would be nice if you had one source of truth, right? So instead, I'm thinking the new API would look something like this. So you would say const form equals create form. Create form, and that would have names and number. It would have those things. And create form would give you a couple things. First, you had a form.parse request, and then you would pass along the astro.request in order to parse it from a request. So no more middleware. It would now kind of do it like this, and it would see what it could do. And I think request is all you need. I would have to double check if this is safe. But this is what I'm thinking. You would have form parse request, and it would return undefined if there's no form, the thing if there is a form. And maybe we have an or throw if it parses badly, but I don't think we need it. The second thing it would have is input props. So input props would have, or field props, or whatever we want to call it, this would have the HTML properties that match whatever the Zod schema gives you. So instead of having required type text, we would have spread form field props.name. And this would give you the required attribute, whether it's present or not. This would give you type text, type number, type date, all sorts of things that we could do in the future. So you don't have to make sure your code always aligns. You could do it either way. Why we got to use classes, man? I hate having to say new. As a user, I'm just like, I don't want to do that. That's just a preference thing. I could use classes internally, but I don't want to do that. It just doesn't feel right to me. I've never used classes long term. I've always preferred just function helpers. Am I crazy? Is there a benefit other than vibes that I'm missing out on? Because if it's just vibes, I think I'm going to stick with this. New form is better than create form. But why? And what if form becomes a component? We don't want them to be jumbled up. Create form namespace is it. Seems similar to React hook form. This is similar, but I'm going to show you how the client-side logic could be a lot different and not have all of the hooks that React hook form has. Sharing states between methods. Yes, but you could also just do function closures to do the same thing, and that's typically what I do. I feel like function closures are kind of fine. I don't know. That still just feels like vibes because I'm not missing out by using a function closure to have state. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. When in doubt, I always restart the TS server. I restart everything. I hit restart extension host and it'll restart Astro, TypeScript, whatever. That works. Too much. See, that's just vibes, man. That's just opinions. I like my curlies. Curlies are fine. There's nothing wrong with curlies. We like our curly boys. Bah humbug. Okay, maybe I should build with classes, build with functions, and then see which one I prefer. I could do that, because I know you're big into classes, man. And I would love to have you contribute to some of this, so I want to be inclusive and have a code base that people like. But as a user, I just don't want to say new. I don't know, man. Maybe that's me. Whatever. So we could have both, but I always want one answer to everything, so. I mean, oh wait, no. I'm still trying to figure out why that success didn't work earlier. I'm not sure. But anyways, so those are the APIs. We have input props. You can use them or ignore them. And we would have parse request that lets you parse the form result. And you would say form result equals form dot parse request. And there's two ways we could do this. We could either have create form come from middleware, so that way you just call this. Or we could have it be this generic thing that doesn't come from middleware, which I think we'll need to do. And then you pass through the request in order to parse it. You know, something like that. They're both fine. They both work fine. But yeah, form result would have a data, and I don't want dot success. I just want to have dot data, or it'll be undefined if there was no form submission. It would have data if it successfully parsed the form, and would have field errors at the top level, not a nested object, with something like, yeah, Copilot, you're getting it exactly right. That is basically what it would be. I mean, not that, but it would have something like that. This is the API. Would the create form accept other types of validators besides Zod? So here's the thing. I want to keep my project scope small, and I think a lot of tools get in the trap of we have to support every validator from the get-go. I don't want to. I want to build the best experience possible with the validator I use. And then and what a lot of people use. And then from there, we can see, can we extract this? Can we have a similar API for something like Valibot, which I know is less kilobytes on the client and bundles better. I've heard the benefits. I want to start by building one validator, release it, then add other validators based on community need. I don't want to make the API worse just to support different validators. Use a custom one. Pilcrow, I saw you shared like a simple form validator earlier, and I didn't comment on it, but it was pretty cool. Just have like a string that says number. The reason I don't like using a string approach is I want to have the ability to do like .refine and do totally custom stuff. Like I could call out to a payment provider and get whether it is credit card is valid. Like I could do crazy stuff inside of Refine. And I want to have that expandability. So I feel like function chaining is where we're at. But yeah, Zero Cosmos, I'm not excluding other validators. I just want to be really smart about this. And I can show you an example of why I kind of feel that way. If you look at this tool, it used to be Zod only. And then they added plugins for anything. And you see you have to have with Zod every time, which feels ugly. And you have to make everything one object. On the surface, this doesn't sound that bad. Of course you would use zObject for all of your variables. But this is discreetly breaking something that you really need in forms, which is validating each individual input. That is not possible with this library. Here's why. Because everything's bundled up in one big object, you can't say, let me just validate the first name. Like they blurred the input, I just want to validate first name. Because it's wrapped up in an object with a validator adapter, you can't get to it anymore. It's deeply nested. You can pre-process stuff, so you can't access a member directly, safely anyways. And you can't validate just first name anymore because this whole plugin system broke that relationship. So even if you want to just validate one input on Blur, you can't do it. You have to use a different library. That sucks. Because I'm going to use that all the time. And it's okay, I can't use their library because I need to use it differently. And because you made it pluggable, you actually made the experience worse for each plugin. I know it sounds like I'm really bashing. I actually love this library and a lot of other things about it. But these two wrappers right here were a mistake. They were a mistake, and I'm going to try to prove it. They were a mistake. Sorry, a bit off topic. Are there enterprise production apps using Astro? I can't say enterprise. We did find out that Bloomberg used Astro for some of their news websites, which was very cool. Someone noticed there was an Astro Island on Bloomberg. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I saw that was a thing. Pretty nice. Anyone else? I know Google uses it for all their Firebase blogs, and now they're using it for more and more things. So there are people at Google that are excited about Astro, and they're using it for more stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, those are the two examples I know of. And they're all content heavy. They're not building apps like this one. Okay, so let's refine this library a little bit. I'm going to go back to form. I'm going to go to probably the index file or something like that. Okay, yeah, this is just the integration. This is the middleware where we're doing all the heavy lifting. For whatever reason, this type doesn't exist. Why? Why not? I have an env file. We have Astro client. It's right here. Sometimes you just have to go in VS Code and go to definition to prove to VS Code a type exists. It's so dumb. It's like, dude, it's here and I can prove it to you. And then VS Code is like, oh yeah, you're right. I forgot, dude. Yeesh. Okay. So we have it right here. We have our validate function and we have the shape of our validator. So first thing that I want to do, I want to change form to use create form instead. I'm going to keep these around. I'm going to say async create form. I think it'll be synchronous actually, because parse request is where things get a little hairy. Create form will take in a validator, but yeah, it's going to extend Zod raw shape. This is correct. Okay, yep. And we'll go ahead and copy this TS expect error because it just happens. And it's saying that this is not a problem, but I swear to God it is. Because it's not realizing that type locals lines up with these types here. So if I open this type file, I bet I go back and suddenly it realizes. Okay, it doesn't. That's silly. Let me see if I can reference the type directly. I think you gotta do path. Yeah. Okay, so now we're referencing the types directly. Okay, yep, that made it happen. There we go. And you can see here, create form not working, but if we go over here and we add create form, it's gonna do something like this. We're just gonna validator T, and it's gonna return, and I'm just gonna make this lazy for now. Input props. This is actually really easy to type, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Input props, parse request. This is gonna be request, and it's gonna return like the safe return type for now. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and return the safe return type. That'll do. Okay, cool. Yep, so it returns those two things. And let's format this file. Thank you. That's more readable. Input props are just that for now. It's going to be a key of T. And it's going to return type of any for now. Yeah, because we don't know what it's going to return yet. And that's it. Okay. So now we head back to get data. For whatever reason, that doesn't work. I expected this to blow up in the... predictably blow up. Okay, none of that. That is not what I'm doing yet. Let me think. To be honest, I'm going to step away for a second. I got to use the bathroom. I need to think more clearly. So I'm going to be right back. I don't need to refill on water, so I think I'm good there. I'm going to use the bathroom 1 second. I was trying to avoid this. I was going to see if I could go the whole stream, but no. You don't chance it. I'm going to be right back. We're back. We are back. All right. We've got probably like 25 minutes here. So let's see what we can make happen. I'm not going to get to the client-side JavaScript today, I don't think, because this is going to take some time to move code around. So if we head back to our Dream API, just so we know what we want to do, we definitely want... Let me undo my way back to what I had before. I want something like this, and I want form to look like this. Yeah. And this will come from somewhere. Yeah. Actually, yeah, why is it a middleware function? Because I don't think it will be. I want to be able to call this from any utility file without having to have the request on me. Because that's an issue that we run into right now, is you have to have access to locals somewhere. So I want to go ahead and change that to be utility instead. I want to use a virtual module to make everything look nice. For now, let me think. The scrappiest way to get this done is to just put a file in here and move it to the package once it's ready. So I'll create a createform.ts. I won't do much. I'll head to types, and I'm going to pretty much use... No. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, I called it... Yeah, okay. That's why I wasn't getting types earlier. Okay. So this is a create form. Whoops. Let's go ahead and do this. Cool. And we can lift that, but yeah. It's a bit yucky for now. We'll just use type inference until we know what we're doing. Okay. And we know we want that. So, this will be the validator. We're going to return something that can parse the request. And should it tie into middleware? I actually don't know. Because there's two avenues to this. In one case, parse request is returned by this. And in another world, it's flipped, where you can call Astro locals form parse request, and you pass in the form. You pass in the form that you want to use to validate. I kind of like this one, because if you return a parser from it, that's going to follow the form wherever you declare it. So in the future, you can create a form that might load on the client. And if the client has to load this whole parse request thing that it ignores, then you run into a bundler issue. You can even run into a server logic, client logic issue. So yeah, I'm thinking parse request is actually going to come from here. And this isn't going to return much. It's going to return the validator back out. And it's going to return the input props, which is going to be a basic map that takes in a Zod validator and figures out what input props you would need for it. So we would have function get input props. And this would take in a validator. Yeah, and let me change this up a little bit. Yeah, that guy. T extends this. If you're wondering why I had inline types before, it's because I was in a type definition file or declaration. Good luck, Ben. See you next stream. Thank you, Zero Cosmos. I'll see you next. See you next stream. Drop a follow, and I'll see you next stream. Okay, so we have. I don't know if this should include the loop or not. I think I'm going to exclude it. Just make things look a little simpler. Field validator. Zod. I think it's just Zod type. And I don't think we need a generic. We will need a generic. Yeah, we'll need something like that. Yeah, that'll do. And then we'll say if. Oh, wow. Yes, that's basically what we're doing. So that's not the value. And for now, we'll just make it type any, but I think I know where it's going. We'll start with name, which is going to be not that. Oh, okay. Kind of. If a path even existed on that type, we would probably use that. But I don't think that's it. I think instead we'll pass down the name, which is pre-parsed, and we'll do that separately. So this is the input props. They start as name. And then we'll say that input props dot type is equal to checkbox, something like that. It's an instance of a Zod Boolean. Yep, that's pretty cool. And we'll say if field validator. And I think you can say Zod optional as well, and that will work. I have to double check if that's actually how you do it. But, yeah. And we'll start as required true. Or even we could say, yeah, we could say something like that, or we could say the reversal. Something like that. That'll do. Yep, and then we'll say, and we'll just do if else if chains. That's totally fine. Else we'll just make it text. Yeah. For now, this is all we need. And eventually I want to have email and other things be custom typed. We'll just start with the core 3 though. So that's everything we need for just a real basic implementation. And we'll say, yeah, we'll do something like that. For name field validator, object entries validator, input props, name equals get input props name field validator. That feels exactly right to me. String cannot be used to index that. That kind of makes sense because TypeScript sucks and object.entries does not actually work. Even though it should be a key of field validator, it doesn't actually work. So the scrappy way is to cast it. But yeah, it's really a mess. Key of type of. Object.entry should do that. Okay, that still doesn't work. Oh my god. Okay, it's not field validator then. I think it's just validator. Yeah. This should be the right type, but it just isn't for no reason. So parse request is no longer returned from this. Instead, we return the input props. We return the validator back out so we don't lose it. And that's kind of it. This gives you everything you need, necessarily. Doesn't like classes, but uses instance of SMH. It's the only way to check. If another library used classes, then I'm not going to judge. But I would love to do underscore type and use that. I guess I could. It's not going to be type safe, though. This is more reliable, though, because if you have a different version of Zod than my peer dependency, and there's just something that breaks in the tool chain where your Zod and my Zod don't quite line up, I want to avoid just show-stopping issues that don't type check anything. So if we do this, this is a little bit more reliable from my experience. I can double check it though, just to be sure. But yeah, I mean, this is all you would need. Input props. So I think we can actually type this now. Yeah, it'll be name, string, required boolean, type that. That's all it is. All right. And I think it's individual. Yeah. Cool. And then we probably want to extract this to another function in the enclosing scope. Yep. And this will be get input type. This way we can be a little bit more clever and say type is actually this. Cool. That way it just kind of works. And you can't pass in the input prop directly. Yeah, field validator instance of Boolean. I don't know why. Oh, I see why they did it. It's not what I want to do, though. I would rather change this to just be return. That'll do. And just for future type checking, we'll say input prop type exactly. We'll stop passing that, and now we're kind of done. Yeah, and in case we need to do anything else, I typically like to do it like that, and that will do. So we return input props in the whole validator, and we return the validator so you can access it for client-side validation, you can access it for whatever use you have, and so our middleware can access it to do its own things. So yeah, this should be enough to get things working. I'm going to add now a little package inside of here. This will say create form, no longer part of this actually. We're going to say parse request. Heck yeah. So parse request takes in an input, a create form result, however we want to type that. I think all we need to say for now, though, is something like this. T extends validator Zod raw shape. It would look something like that. We don't care about the other stuff. Yeah. Validator T form. Okay. And then we will say that, yep, and we can keep doing what we're doing. We can keep doing what we're doing. In fact, it works exactly the same way. Except now we say form.validator. And everything else is just kind of the same stuff. Okay. Yep, and we can do that. I don't even think we need the generic. I think it just infers, right? Shouldn't it just infer? Yeah. We can also make this async so that it works. Very nice. And then we're going to go over here because we still can't figure out our types. I'm going to delete this because we don't want that to be middleware anymore. Delete that. We'll keep the other APIs around until we decide to do the new thing. Yep. And I'm not doing the whole parse request throws by default and safe parse is the safe version. I'm going to do the reversal, where parse request would return undefined by default, and parse request or throw would be the version that throws an exception. But to be honest, I would never use this, so I'm not even going to implement it yet. But that's my thing. I'm going to flip it because I prefer undefineds to throwing. So it's the opposite of how Zod works, I know, and other libraries. But I kind of prefer that, where parse is safe by default. It just sounds good, too. Safe by default. Undefined or null? I don't know. Do you have an opinion on null? Because I feel like undefined makes sense. But null is like, it's the absence of something. So if you want to go like by definitions, null is better. But I just go by null shouldn't exist. So I always use undefined. That's been my perspective. Web APIs use null. Well, we're not a web API, so I think we're okay just using undefined. But you're right. Web APIs use null. They sure the heck do. This isn't a web standard by any means, so I feel like undefined is the right choice. But yeah, let me look at this. The actual return type is not going to be that. Well, actually it is. The return type is the same. We're just changing up what this thing does. Yep. And we'll have a utility type that this imports later. Yep. And we'll need to update these as well. That should do. It is annoying having a separate types definition when you're also using TypeScript, because you end up in spots like this, where the generics that I'm giving to the user don't match the generics I'm using for this code that I'm writing. So it's almost like, do I even need generics? Maybe not. Maybe not. Let me actually try just not using generics in this code, because I don't need it. These aren't user types, so why confuse yourself? Let me go ahead and do something like this. So it's still throwing an error. That's what that means. Yeah, you can't do this because in one case it's generic, and in one case it isn't, which is really annoying. It's really dumb. Yeah, see, because they're inferred by generics and stuff. Yeah, it's such a mess. It's such a mess. I hate it, man. I really hate it. But I do want to keep it simple, so I'll probably just go ahead and do this. Yeah. I'll just add that. Generics don't line up. Yep. Hoist exceptions to form errors. That was a catch from you, Pilcrow. I agree. If we fail to parse form data in general, there should be a form errors that tells you that. And then the rest of these are Zodi results. Yeah. So there we go. I wish it would just infer as well, because if I go back here, I would ideally just not even type form. I would just kind of move on. But it's going to scream at me and say, you know what? That needs a type. We can't infer it. I'm like, what? What? Because it's type unknown, which is so dumb. I want this to work, but I just have no idea how. It's inferring the type from the form. It's actually doing it correctly. You can see right here, there's a T extends, but it just doesn't care. For whatever reason, it just does not care. It's really silly. But form is the correct type. It is the correct type. I don't get it. I don't get it. This should totally work, and it totally doesn't. I need a type wizard to help me. Yeah. Parse request, we send the form down. Create form comes from somewhere. Create form. Okay. You would say something like that. And I don't know about this nested object because it does look really funny. It does look really funny the way that we're doing this. Because this is how I wanted users to wield this, is to write it like that. And every time you need to access anything from locals, you would say like form, partial, and whatever else equals astro.locals. So that way you don't have astro.locals chaining your whole app, because it gets really annoying. I like destructuring it a little bit. But I want to have these top levels so that I can namespace each package. I don't want to have parse form request. I want to have form dot every utility in simple form. So that's why I have like the top level thing. But form and form can get confused. That's why it's not the best. So I'm still debating how I want to do that. Okay, that's an explosion for no reason. But yeah, this is pretty good. This parses the request, and now you get back a safe parse return type. Pretty cool. And you can also see that sign-up form has input props name any. So I think we typed it to not have input props, but we can actually change that to make it just a little bit better. But yeah, input props, key of T, and then I want these to be super, super, super inferred somehow. I don't know how to do it. I guess I would need a map in order to infer each one. Yeah, how would you do this? Because right now, I'm losing some type inferencing just by using object.entries. I'm pretty sure by using object.entries, I already screwed myself. It's not going to work how you expect it to. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about types. I'm just going to worry about it working. Because this is going to take me a long time to figure out. Guaranteed. I'll get there, though. So now we have a form result that should have the success and failure state. And with any luck, we could also go down here. And we could say, what is it, sign up form? Okay, why am I getting no type inferencing from this? Because clearly input props exist. Huh. Weird. You could search for a TypeScript entries function. It works. There are a lot in Google. Send one of them now. I will go look those up because I probably need that. Okay. So we have input props here. Dot. Come on, man. Help me out. Why are the language tools just not helping me today? But yeah, property name Annie, that's expected. Yeah. So this works. This works well. This works well. And now we can probably start our dev server and expect it to work. It should work. So we'll go to our browser over here. Yep, confirm the resubmission. Oh my God, what is going on? Do I need to rebuild a package? Do I need to reinstall a package? Oh my God, what is this? Right-hand side of instance of is not an object. Oh, did I import it as a type? Probably. No, I didn't. Huh. What are all the places that I used instance of? Is that optional, not a class? They're all classes. That doesn't make any sense. What? Huh? Why? Line 33. Yeah, it's not optional. The heck, man? That doesn't make any sense. Well, anyways. I'm going to console log the field. Yeah, I'm gonna console log that just to see what info we get. Yeah, just go ahead and ping it. Yeah, so we have all sorts of things. Types, odd number, coerce, false. I could probably have coerce true on that. So that way I don't have to do parsing of numbers myself, because I'm doing that internally right now. But yeah, we have refine, we have all the things. Huh. Okay, we have is nullable and is optional. I didn't know about that. So let me console log is field validator dot is optional. I didn't even know about this, but let me give that a go. If that's a thing, then I'll just use that. Yeah, what do we get? I'm logging way too many things. I'm logging way too many things. Is false. Okay. Is not optional. That is that Is that correct? It is correct. Okay. All right. Yeah. And we'll probably go ahead and say something like that. Yeah, we'll do something like that, just to make sure of it. Okay, so we'll do that first, and I bet it's going to tell me the other instance ofs don't work either. Let's find out. Yeah, it's going to tell me that none of these work. So, Pilcrow, here's why I hate classes. Okay, it has nothing to do with classes, but yeesh. Is there any way to just get the type? I'm just going to use the underscore type. Sounds like a Zod issue. It probably is. I don't know why it's not bundling any of those correctly. It could also be we're using AstroZod instead of using Zod properly. That could be, because we don't guarantee that everything exports correctly. We don't guarantee it at all. So, that's on us. Probably on us. But I'd prefer to use underscore type anyways. Okay, it's undefined. Well, I can't use it. That's hopeful. I'm honestly not sure what it is. Somebody log that again, because I have absolutely no idea. I think there was something in here. Yeah, type name. Def. Yeah. Okay, so they don't guarantee any of that. But it's an instance of Zod number. They can only guarantee description and error map. Which neither of those are on here, by the way. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to install Zod directly, and I'm going to use that. And I'm going to see if that fixes our problem. Because it should. That should fix our problem right up. It does. All right, nice. So input props name. Okay, so things are nested incorrectly. But, oh no, that is working. So the problem is the name of the input is name, which really messes me up. Name, required true type number. Pretty cool. And we should see now it is a type number. Ooh, pretty cool. Pretty neat. Pretty nifty. So if we change it to type string, for example, now it's a regular input. How about that? Okay, pretty cool. And if you want to add your own input props, you still can. I did see that there was a Zod library that generated inputs for you, and you couldn't even control the HTML. And I'm like, that's slightly too far. I think you should still have control over the input. Yes, spreading is annoying. And yes, you probably want to destructure, so it's not this nested beast, but it works. It works fine. And if you want to label, you can still manage your labels the exact way that you would expect. You don't have to like invent a whole new JavaScript syntax for labels. You don't need to. And if we hit next, we get a promise pending. That makes sense. Okay, I do need to get to my meeting in 60 seconds. But this should work. Yeah, success true. Data, hubba. Pretty nice. Okay, Nico Fishman, chill out. But thanks for reminding me. I would have ended the stream. Okay, object entries, extends the guy, object entries. It's just a typecast. But yeah, the utility is useful. So, yep, I'll add that to my pins. I'll take a look at it. Thank you, sir. But that's kind of it for me. We are working towards something. Oh, it's written by Brio, by the way. That's a good community member in Veetland. But yeah, we built something pretty nice. I think the API is getting a little bit better. Next time, I really want to dive into client validation because that's where the spice is going to happen. But if you want to contribute to this library, you want to follow what I'm doing, head over to wtw.dev/chat. I am trying to discuss SimpleStack as much as I can in that channel. So if you go to that Discord, you join up. If you want to see what we're doing with Astro, if you like Astro, I'll be chatting a lot about API design. And Pocro's in there. He's sharing cool stuff. We've got a lot of good people. So head over there. Join that Discord. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll keep streaming tomorrow. For now, we'll find someone to raid. So let me go ahead and raid whomever. Tej. Easy. Bye. Thank you for joining, people. But we are now rating. All right. I will see you on the next one. Drop a follow. I'm going to be live multiple times this week, so you'll find a chance to catch me, even if you didn't today. All right. Actually, if you need a chance to catch me, then you wouldn't be here. Whatever. See you tomorrow.